which is a bit of a sacrilegious thing to say. Well, basketball was always my sport growing up. And in the early 2000s, mid-2000s, you had Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe Bryant was renowned for assisting through, get the ball over to Shaq to slam it in. And I feel like Declan, that's what we've just done. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm about to talk about is directly following on from what Declan's just been talking about, where it is the hiring world is massively in a bit of a middle phase, is how I would say, where we're just kind of waiting for the next big event, where absolutely we've had COVID, we've had all these different problems. So how do we go through and attract the right people? So today I'm just going to primarily be talking today about how we get those people in with employer branding and candidate experience, and that's hopefully what we're going to focus on. But just firstly, I'm Nate. I've been working in HR technology now for just around 12 years. Funnily enough, Kate, I used to work with her 11 years ago. That was where I got my start over at Peninsula when it was HR Online. Teamtail, if you're not familiar with us, we're an applicant tracking system. So essentially, as a product, we help you guys do your hiring, blast your jobs out across the internet with things like LinkedIn. But where our differentiator is, apart from businesses like Workday, Leather that you may have used in the past, we place a massive, massive focus on working with candidate experience. Because our view and our belief is that it's the key that wraps together your entire hiring policy. Because if you've got the right people coming to you, you're already halfway there. So that's massively with what we focus on. So today, like I say, employee brand and candidate experience is massively want to focus on. And just for posterity's sake, there's a couple of different ways to define it. So to me, when I'm talking about candidate experience, it's specifically the experience that your candidates have when they come into your business. How does it make them feel? How does it not make them feel? When they're going through your process, are they having a nice time? Are they having a bad time? So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And then with employer brands, that is the perception of your business to these candidates and how it makes them feel in essence. So in terms of the focus and why to have a focus on this, it's still, and it shocks me to learn that some businesses just don't focus on this. They have a very general careers page. They have a very general view on LinkedIn where they'll just post out a few bits and bobs here and there. But the war of talent, it's massively still raging. And when we're looking as well with some of the insights, like what Declan said to us there, we need to focus on the fact that the candidates that do have the skills, that do have the experience, whether they're Gen Z, Millennial, Baby Boomers, Gen X, whatever they are, these guys are still very highly in demand in the marketplace. So in terms of when we're looking at the needs to bring them in, there's a huge cost benefit to a lot of our organizations for where to go through this. So in terms of the ways that we look at this, within Teamtail, there's a very specific amount of different ways and places that we look at the evaluation of it. And firstly, if you are interested in taking out a better and clearer look of how you're working with your employee branding and your candidate experience, there's 7 steps. Which is kind of a lie, because as I was doing this, I came up with 10, so I've got some bonus ones that I'm not talking about today. So I'm quite excited about that. So firstly, number one is to analyze your target audience. So if you are looking at your employee brands, the number one thing is look at your target audience. So I had a meeting with L'Oreal recently. They're not a customer of Teamtail, I will say that, but they had a massive problem wherein that what they had is they had a load of people that they were trying to draw in who they wanted to work in the warehouse. But then they also had people who wanted to work in the head office in Paris. So how do you specifically attract those two different markets? So they're very different people. You know, again, we're going to be talking about Aldi shortly, about how they take care of their employee branding. So for those guys, you know, if we've got John from Wigan, who, you know, he just literally wants to turn up, collect his paycheck and go home, compared to the management program that they have, again, we've got very different personas, and you will have that in your business. So firstly, you just really need to make sure you've got a good idea of your persona, and more specifically, what they actually want. Number two is to just take a step back and just search and analyze. So when we're now looking at this part for your candidate experience, it's a case of literally go away and search for, you know, store manager roles in my area. Search for Python developers in Manchester. If you're not coming up in the top 30, the top 100, who are the businesses that are, and why are they coming up? So again, when we're talking about brand, we need to have this holistic view of what our businesses are actually looking at, what they're going to. So again, if you're not there, figure out why those other businesses are and what they're doing well, and really take a look through them. And then number 4 is to try and apply it to your own company. So what I mean by that is that steal. right? That's essentially what I'm getting at with this. There's no harm in kind of taking what other people are doing and then making it your own, because another massive part I'm going to come on to in a second is that every business in terms of your candidate experience and your employee branding is unique, and it's unique to you. And that's what can make things really shine when we're talking through. So again, you can just like, I don't know, when a singer does a cover of another song, it's always slightly different, and that's what makes it stand out to people. So number 5, let's go back to Gen Z. So is anyone familiar with lazy girl jobs on TikTok? Has anyone seen that? Yes, right. So there's a TikTok channel where it's specifically jobs for lazy girls where they don't have to do much work. This is what you're competing with. There's a whole world of work where people in Gen Z, a lot of them there's a massive amount of people that do want to have all of this experience where they can go through the ranks and things like that. But who is it you're trying to attract? If it is Gen Z, again, get down to the brass tacks of what your job position is and what they actually want. Is it a business where they just kind of want to turn up and get a paycheck? There's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. Those people can be, strong, reliable workers. Do they want the experience to go through these ranks? That's a whole other conversation there. But there's a massive exclamation point on there when you are looking at your employee brand. If you are not doing social, you're doing it wrong and you're being left behind. Because I'm not sure the companies that are in the room sign up list, which I'd like to. What we do need to do is recognize that there's businesses that are out there doing it better than you. There's always a bigger guy in the gym. There's always, a better footballer on the pitch. There's always a business doing it better than you, and it is keeping up with the Joneses in this day and age. There's so many different ways we can do things. So yeah, get on social if you're not already there, and look at your video content. If you have young people in your office, get them to tell you how to do it. Number 6, effort to apply and click rate versus your sign-ups. I will show a few slides in a second about click rates, and it's a massive problem that I have with businesses, because if it takes more than 5 clicks to submit through on your career site, you've probably lost a candidate in that process. Particularly when we're talking about those lower to medium end scale of jobs, they're gonna just ditch out because again, they've got so much options if they're a good candidate. And as well, even when we're looking at these hire and fire roles, maybe call center staff and things like that, again, they do on the whole, depending on the market they're in, they have a lot of options. So again, keep your click rates low and just analyze how many clicks your business is using to the higher point. Authenticity is number 7 that I've got written down, and it's a hard one to quantify. But when I go onto a careers website and I see stock photos of people, smiling, and it's just some American company, just dash it, just get it in the bin. Like, it's a waste of time. Have actual pictures of your actual staff. Let people know what they're walking into on that first day, because it's a turn off for a lot of people. And at the end, just to interject myself, we have a study that we've conducted as T-Tel on career sites and what people's views are, where we've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people. If you are interested in seeing the results behind these thoughts, please let us know. Number 8, are you saying it or showing it? So diversity and inclusivity policies is kind of what I mean by this. So if your career sites say that we're a diverse and inclusive business, firstly, actually be one. Don't just say it. Just make sure that you are shouting about it. Are you supporting your trans people, your religious people, your all the different kinds of ways? It doesn't warrant getting into it right now. But again, it also gives me the ick when I just see a massive list where people are like, we're inclusive. Right, okay, where? Let's have a look. And you can't find it on their career site. And we'll take a look at that as well in seconds. I'm going to speed through these last couple of things. Career site, it's your jewel in the crown. Make sure it's good. I'll come back to that. And think difference. So what can you do that is different, that is going to stick out to people? And again, I've got an example. But I'd also like you to think of your career site and your candidate experience as dating. So I don't know if anyone's on dating apps, ever used dating apps, Hinge, Tinder, or whatever it is. We've kind of commodified the career site experience and the hiring experience to that level. So to the extent where people are going to very quickly look at your career site, scroll down, yep, no, not for me. Yep, that's for me. And that's how fast candidates are looking through this stuff. So I've got a couple of slides here. If you've got your phones, please feel free to just take a scan of this. So one of the companies that we work with is Huel, or either use the QR code or careers.huel.com. But either way, just to very quickly talk about some of the things they do, is video massively. So when these guys are talking about what they're working on and their career site, essentially right from the top, you see this massive, beautiful video of these guys. They're on one of their retreats, they're having fun, they're laughing. You scroll down, and the very first thing that you will see is their careers values, their company values. And I think it's number 3 is don't be a dick. They really say what their values are on the. Is that still there? Is it there? Is anyone on it? Yes. Okay, great. Yeah. Don't be a dick. If that scares you off, you're not the right person for Q. They have drilled in so perfectly well what they are and the type of persona that they want. And one of those things that they also do is they've figured out that it's kind of millennial workers that they're trying to drag in. So recently on the second one, and I don't know why that link's there, if you're really quick at typing, maybe you can put the link in. But essentially, they recently did a warehouse rave for all their staff and brought a load of people in. So they do want younger talent, but they do know that they want that. And if you tried to sell to a baby boomer that we were talking about, that there was a warehouse rave, come along, right? It's not going to work, but they're so steadfast and they believe in their core values of the business and what works for them. So again, knowing yourself and being brave enough to say, don't be a dick, and being brave enough to say, I've got a warehouse rave, let's come and get on it, guys. You know, it really stands out to the right candidate, and you have to be brave when you're looking for the top candidates and to know what you're looking for, really. But again, careers.fuel.com, if you ever get a chance, have a look at them because their career site's brilliant. I just wanted to quickly talk about some bad stuff, and I know I'm just getting past on time, so I'm going to try and talk quickly here. Aldi is good and it's bad. It's shit and it's good. And I'm always torn when I talk about this, and it's something I've talked about a few times recently. But to go back to my point before with diversity, spot the diversity. And a lot of their pictures on their career sites are like this. And again, going back to my example of, they talk about in quite a few places about how diverse they are. Their careers, I don't know if you guys can see this, but in order to get a career in head office, here you'll find 1,400 people sharing a fast-moving, dynamic, open plan environment. We call it our engine room because that's everything that happens here drives the stores, logistics side of the business. Why do I want to work there? Tell me, like, why should I be excited? I'm, a graduate. I'm super excited. I'm ready to join the world of work, and all I know is that I'm going to be trusted to think for myself. That's not going to excite the talent that they're looking to bring in. So again, going back to that point of know who you're looking for, and then just reach out to them with what they want. And again, it is things like that progression if you're a young person, and there's so many missed points. As well, this just makes me feel ill, where I love that they're looking for diverse talent. But I've not got time to read that. My eyes have glazed over already. Why am I going to pick one of them? So again, just little things like that when you're looking for your job application form. And that's not the only question that looks like that as well. So just make sure when you're building these job application forms out with whatever ATS you're actually using, just keep it simple as well and try not to turn people off before they're already there. Your diversity questions actually shouldn't even be at this stage. Let people apply and then maybe automate the diversity survey that's sent through to them. You don't really need to know the point of application. Declan stole a lot of my thunder with my stats. I'm going to skip past it in the interest of time. So, quantifiable metrics. So, when you're talking to senior leadership about the fact that, hey, I want to spend money on our career site, I want to spend money on our candidate experience, our employee brand, it's quite hard to go to a C-suite and to say that I need money for this, and sometimes it can be relatively low. But again, obviously, details is what we do, so we don't think that should be the case. But I personally think there's a couple of really easy quantifiable metrics that when you start making these sorts of changes and start really looking at your own candidate experience, there's a couple of benefits that you'll get. So firstly, the cost per hire, you'll always see that drip down and just really start to change. So when you're talking about simplifying your hiring funnel, making sure that we're not going through 15 different stages, we're not getting drop-offs, we're not getting ghosting, your cost per hire will really, really start to shorten down. Again, I'm so tempted to start blabbering on about all these different things. I'm going to keep it brief for now, but again, please talk to us if you have questions at the end. Yes, let's move on. Time to hire. You also find that going down. Time to hire. We did as well, like I say, some studies, and for certain roles, your time to hire, it should be really, really low. There's no excuse for having a long time to hire in this day and age. If you're looking at automation, if you're looking at AI, a proper email drip feed, a good ATS, like ours, you can automate your WhatsApp messages that are going out. There's lots of ways that you can really keep people in the funnel, keep people moving along with your time to hire. And as well, your hiring manager's time is very valuable, so you can keep things down that way. Agency spends, less of that about the better. The more people that you're getting in, what you will find is that there's two ways. Don't give me them eyes, I'll get to a point. So what you want to do when you are looking at agency spends, you don't want to have lots of spend coming in for no reason. So there's two things. So with a good career site, that should be able to be utilized by your agency. So they shouldn't be wasting their time, you shouldn't be wasting your time. You shouldn't be having, just a massive bill that's being run up. I don't know your commercial model, that's how it works, but some businesses do, where essentially the more time that they're spending, it's just a waste of time for people. So again, having a good career site, it's going to help reduce and keep that in check. And then finally, your pay-per-click spend. So as well, keeping that low. I'm just going to move on. Lots of things to talk about. Okay, so world-class EV. I had a chat with another business quite recently. I don't know if I've got any gamers in the audience, but GTA 5 has an online mode. And what these guys did, they went on the PC and they did a modified version of GTA 5 and they set up this server. And what they did was they were at a Latvian supermarket. And you could log into this server, create your own GTA 5 character and walk around and shoot each other in this this fake version of a real life supermarket. And then at the end, if you won, then you got fast tracked for an interview. They filled all of their all of their applications across their business within, I think it was like 2 weeks, and they were done. But they're hiring for a long time. They built a massive candidate pool out. That's quite far out there. You don't have to go that far, but this is the extent that some people are going to. I've spoken to quite a few different businesses, and what they will do is if you can hack into this part of our website, you'll find the job application. Booking.com did that years ago, and I think they filled 37 senior developer roles globally within a week or something like that. So again, really thinking outside the box can get this. Another example as well, if you're interested in looking at businesses that are also nailing the basics for the things I'm talking about. If you take a look at Huel, they're fantastic. Foot Asylum, another Team Taylor customer, but again, absolutely smashed the basics. They know who they want. Their hiring time is just absolutely tiny. Obviously, it's a brand people want to work for, but again, and then L'Oreal as well. They're doing a fantastic job. There's also little things that you can do where promised I wouldn't shield Team Taylor too hard. I was going to say one feature because I think it's excellent that we just launched, which is Team Taylor Stories, where just like an Instagram story, just like a Snapchat story, what you can have your staff do is, let's just say Ellie, who works for me and Ellie were down the pub, we're having a drink, staff at work, we're celebrating something, we take a Team Taylor story, and then the TA, the hiring manager, can decide if that's going to be posted on our career site, more specifically in the sales recruitment section. So if I'm looking for a job, okay, those guys are pretty cool, I'd like to work with them. And I'll come back to that point in a second. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about, 4 minutes, I'm going to do this. So the quick tips to improve your employer branding. Let your employer branding come from your people. And I expanded on this when I was thinking on the train, and it's more of a case of what I mean by that is sell the right now and not the future. There's so many pitfalls that you can go down of bullshitting your candidates, and they turn up and they decide it's not right. Funnily enough, in between working for Kate 11 years ago and then the next job that I ended up going to, I started working at a different company. And I was there for 3 weeks before I left. They'd paid a recruiter to get me in. They'd given me the first couple of weeks training, but I didn't fit in. I was a young person. I consider myself quite cool, and I was working in an office with much older people. I had no idea about that, and I felt weird. Let people know what they're walking into. Save yourself a bit of time and a bit of money, and just sell what is there and where it's going to be in the short term, not in the long term with that. Don't just sell the good, sell the challenges as well, because they really stand out to the right candidates. If things are a fast-moving place and they're pretty difficult, there's a way to say that and to sell it properly. Be honest with your benefits, and where possible, have some good ones. I know that's tricky sometimes because of budget and spend, but there is lots of things, like there's a service called Learnably out there, not affiliated, I just like it, where essentially as an HR manager you can sign up and then your staff get a £100 learning budget per month, and the company would only pay £80, for example. So some really good low-cost ways to offer benefits, rather than having in your benefits, a parking space and 25 days holiday. Great, no use to that. It's terrible to see things like that. Yeah, Glassdoor. It can be a bit of a bitch to work with. Am I allowed to swear here? I swear.
Pass that now.
I promise you that's such. Glassdoor reviews can be a bitch, and sometimes they get a bit unruly. Keep on top of it, and have the say on that in terms of your replies to your employer brand. Is not just your career site; it's all over the internet. And where you're talking, it's on your LinkedIn posts. It's on what your staff are talking about when they leave the office, when they leave their place of work. Your employer brand is everywhere. And it's on Google Maps as well. Career site content, video is a big thing that I will say on this. If you're not doing video with your employer brands, you're missing out on a really big trick. And it's not hard to do. Everyone's got iPhones. Just walk through the office and take a video. It takes 2 seconds to do. You just bumped up your employer branding. Create an Instagram, create a TikTok account, and then get the cool young people in the office to do something silly. I'm not sure if you guys have seen what Currys have done recently, where they've taken their staff doing sort of like a well-known meme or something, and then they'll turn it into an advert. So people are watching it for the meme, but they're getting the advert served at the end. That's employer branding. There's all kinds of different ways we can be really creative with this. I've written in capitals and I've underlined it. For goodness sake, please be real. In the sense that this goes back onto my D&I thoughts as well. So again, when we're talking about youth, tattoos, sex, gender, religion, all these kind of things, if you have it, please shout about it and just welcome the people into the business. And it's something where it's a constant battle, and it should be a constant battle. I spoke to a business owner a few weeks back, and he had 50 staff, and what he wanted to do was his first big, exciting event that he was putting on for his after work. He booked out a spa on a Thursday for all his staff, paid for them all to get massages, he had champagne receptions for them all. What he failed to realise though was he had 4 Muslim women. What are they going to do at a spa? So diversity, it takes some thinking, it takes readjusting of how we're working through. So it's a constant readjustment and a constant thing to think about with how we're talking about that. Apply all of this to your own thoughts and needs. Your career site is really the jewel in your crown. Make sure it's a good one. Track your EVP, going into what Declan was saying is a massive part. And just finally on that, don't stagnate. The business that you have and the employer branding that you have should not, 25 staff, 50 staff, should not be what you have at 500. As you're growing, are you implementing a professional development leadership program when you get to 100 hires? Because again, that's what some people want to see. There's lots of different ways where you should bring things along, and you should also be dumping things off as you go as well. Just constantly be cognizant of the needs of your business and how you want things to run and rule. 2 minutes over, that's like everything. Okay, yeah, done. Thank you.